Tonight's story begins with a beautiful woman named Louise. Even at the age of 35, her beauty and style still turn heads. She works at the prestigious Columbia University, and her position there is not a small one, it's very high. But behind all the glitter of life lies loneliness. Even though she is surrounded by people, deep inside Louise feels terribly alone. One day we see Louise talking with her ex-husband Peter. Even though they are divorced, their relationship isn't bitter. In fact, they're quite good friends. Yet, the broken fragments of their past relationship continue to leave an emptiness in Louise's heart. In that loneliness, one day Louise calls her friend Jessica. Jessica tells her, "My husband is always buried in work. He doesn't pay any attention to me. Sometimes I feel like if I had a relationship with someone else, maybe I'd feel better. If only I were single like you." Hearing these words, Louise quietly hangs up the phone. Inside, her loneliness only deepens. The next morning at work, Louise receives a strange letter. On the envelope is written one name, Scott. Instantly, the doors of memory swing open. Yes, Scott from her college days, the man she once loved deeply. But she had lost him forever in a tragic car accident. Curiosity fills her. She thinks since a candidate with the same name, Scott, is coming for an interview, she must meet him. Finally, the day arrives. Louise waits at the office. A young man enters, slightly late, and Louise is suddenly stunned. He looks exactly like the Scott she once knew, the same eyes, the same smile, even the same way of speaking. Louise takes the interview, but in her mind, it feels like she's talking to her old college Scott. After the interview, she invites this Scott to go out. From there, their new relationship begins. Louise takes Scott around the city, showing him places, and eventually brings him to her home. At home, over wine, they talk. Scott says, "You are so beautiful, I want to paint a portrait of you." Then, slowly, he holds Louise's hand. Louise loses control of herself. Between them is born a deep intimacy. After so many years, Louise once again feels love, passion, and the warmth of touch. This relationship teaches Louise to live again. Her loneliness seems to fade away. Meanwhile, Scott happily calls his mother to tell her he has gotten the job. But before leaving, he promises Louise they will meet again tomorrow. But just then, Louise's past returns. Suddenly, her ex-husband Peter shows up at her house. After an argument, he ends up staying the night. The next morning, Scott arrives and sees Peter in the house. Misunderstandings spark. Scott thinks Louise is still involved with Peter. Hurt and angry, he says, "Do you want to break up with me?" And then he leaves. A devastated Louise runs to Jessica. Jessica advises her, "Don't make life so complicated. Whatever you want, choose it from your heart." Finally, Louise makes her decision. She meets Peter and clearly tells him, "We can never be like we used to be. Our chapter is over." In the last scene, we see Louise giving Scott his joining letter. Their relationship grows close again, and with an emotional kiss, the story comes to an end.